Hello everybody. In this video we're going to be discussing how electricity flows in your Class A RV. Welcome to my channel. This is the RV MD. First thing we're going to discuss is how electricity travels from shore power into your bus. Through the shore power cable, which you can see here, it travels down on the floor, up, and into the transfer switch. There are two contactors within the transfer switch. The one on the right is the one that is connected to shore power. The one on the left is the one that comes from the generator. When you are plugged into shore power, this contactor will pull in, as you can see right here. You can see this one is not pulled in, this one is pulled in. If I were to disconnect shore power, that would no longer be pulled in. I would turn on the generator and this would pull in. From here, this goes all the way to the 120 volt breaker panel inside your coach. In this coach, which is again a 2018 Newmar Essex, this will go to the 120 volt panel in the midship bathroom. Inside the midship bathroom, you'll see a breaker panel as well as a smaller breaker panel. This bigger breaker panel operates things like the engine block heater, the washer, the dryer, the air conditioners, the Oasis heaters, the freezer, the cooktop, and you'll see one here that says inverter. So this panel energizes the inverter. So out of this panel will be a 120 volt wire, which will go into your inverter at the 120 volt input on the inverter. The inverter also has a 120 volt output. That 120 volt output goes to this panel. This panel operates the passenger slide out outlets, the basement and bedroom lights, the microwave, the driver's side outlets, and the refrigerator. These specific breakers are the ones that are probably the most important when you are boondocking. So if you are boondocking, you are not plugged into shore power, and you didn't have your generator on, your inverter would be getting power from the house batteries, and that inverter would convert 12 volts to 120 volts and send it up to this panel. So you can operate your microwave and your refrigerator and certain outlets while you are boondocking. As we look at the inverter, you will see, if I can focus, AC in and AC out. So from the bigger breaker box, you'll see the AC in. That's where it goes. Below it is the AC out, which travels to that smaller breaker panel. You also have over here your 12 volt positive in and your negative in. These come from your house batteries. Here are your house batteries. As you can see, I replaced these not too long ago. month ago. Over here against the wall is the wiring diagram. You will see that this cable here comes along here, goes up here, goes to a 350 amp fuse, and this travels to your inverter. 12 volts going to your inverter. This one here travels and goes to a 200 amp, and it goes to your house 12 volt, I'll say breaker panel, which is right beside the smaller 120 volt breaker panel in the midship bath, which I will show you. Over here, you have a positive, which you really can't see, but it travels up here, up there, and this goes to what's known as your bridge solenoid. They call it here the bi-directional isolator, right here. That device, which I will also show you, is what bridges the house batteries to your chassis batteries. So the way this works is the inverter charges your house batteries, and when they have a sufficient charge, the bi-directional isolator solenoid, or what I call the bridge solenoid, will activate when the chassis batteries need to be charged. So basically it's the house batteries that charge the chassis batteries through the bridge solenoid. And where is this bridge solenoid? Well, if you go to the Shore Power Bay, you will see this device right here. This is your bidirectional isolation solenoid, or what I call the bridge solenoid. Through your TM102, which is part of your Silverleaf system, which is actually right here, TM102, is this device that determines if the chassis batteries need to be charged. When it needs to be charged, it goes down here to what's known as the KIB, which you can see right there, panel. It goes down to this fourth light, and you'll see these little black buttons. If you push the fourth button, it should activate your bidirectional isolation, and you'll hear it activate the solenoid. Right beside this, just for those who are curious, this is the solenoid that will turn off certain appliances and outlets in your bus when you hit the salesman switch. When you turn it on, all of these activate. All of these activate. You can just follow the wires to see exactly what circuits are being activated. And of course you have to look at your board here to see which ones are which. As I mentioned before, in the midship bathroom, where your big breaker box is, your smaller breaker box is, there's also 12-volt fuses that come directly from the house batteries. These are, of course, all automotive fuses, and these operate things that are located on the door. Back in the chassis bay, you'll find the chassis batteries. Over here against the wall, you'll see the wiring diagram. One of these, either this one or this one, travels to the bridge solenoid or the bidirectional isolation solenoid, and when the TM102 senses that your chassis batteries need to be charged, the TM102 will activate the bridge solenoid and connect the house batteries to your chassis batteries and give them a charge. You'll also notice there's two breakers here. Turn those off and you will not be able to start your engine. You won't be able to start your generator. You won't be able to start or activate your HWH hydraulic system. You'll also notice there's a fuse right there. I always keep a couple extra hanging. I think it's 125 amps, but you'd have to take this apart and see how many amps it is. I'm sorry, it is 125 amps. Always keep extra fuses. And that, folks, is basically how electricity runs throughout your Class A coach. Thanks for watching. This is the RV MD. Thanks for watching.